Present the third edition of the PNBF Champions League. Last year, we had a league called the Challenge Cup. We are back to its original name as we feature a couple of very familiar teams already in the landscape of Philippine women's volleyball. It's Petrogas and Army to kick things off in a pool that features 5 teams in the women's division. Then we will also have 8 teams in the men's division. That tournament will happen next week. But before that, we have these 4 teams kicking things off for today. Petrogas versus Army, to be followed by Cherry Tigo taking on the Signal HD Spikers. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. This is Mixed Service alongside Ivy Remulia. Ivy, first of all, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you also. Nice to be with you again at the court side.
And Ivy, I'd like to get your thoughts about this league that we have, the Champions League. We are already in its 3rd rendition. Do you have any, dearest thoughts about what we have for this tournament?
Well, the thing I like about this Champions League is that we're getting the best of the best, coming in from the different tournaments. And for this particular season or the conference that we have right now, can be quite interesting because we've had our familiar names, as you see here on your screens, the participating teams for this division. But what's interesting is that we also have a collegiate team that will be joining the pool.
Well, actually, that collegiate team were the champions of last year's Challenge Cup, so they definitely have a lot more to prove here in our Champions League against 4 professional teams, of course, bannered by Petrogas, Cherry Tigo, and Signal HD, who have been with the PBL for the longest time, and they continue to be so. Alright, now let's talk about the tournament format. What's gonna happen in only 1 week of volleyball for our women's players? Break it down for us, Ivy, all the way from today up until Saturday.
Well, it's going to be a tough week for all of these teams because we only have 5 teams, so that means that they have to compete neck and neck against each other. Only 4 will be advancing to the next round, and the top 4 teams will go up against each other for the semifinals. And that will determine who will be competing for the gold medal and the bronze medal. So it will be unfortunate that one team would have to say goodbye early on in this week.
And we also have to highlight the fact that there's no twice to beat advantage.
That's right.
So it's just 1 round, a single elimination game from the semis up until the finals. As now we present to you Royce Tubino, who will be showing up for Choco Mucho in the next PBL conference. But right now, she's back with her duties as a part of our Philippine Army squad, taking on the Petrogas Angels, who obviously have a lot of stars on their roster. Couple of new ones, some returning ones as well. But right now, we have to break down the lineup of Philippine Army. As we know, this is a team that already has a lot of mainstays. Nakita na natin si Royce Tubino. Mamaya pwede na natin pag-usapan si Jovelyn Gonzaga. But for you, Ivy, what interests you the most when it comes to covering this team?
Well, Army, I think what they really have at the base here is the fact that, they have a lot of veterans and they have been playing, I think in all of the teams competing right now, they have been playing together the longest. So I think that sort of puts them, that's quite an advantage also for this team. So syempre, they've had a mix also of younger players. So, it could be interesting to see how a Philippine Army would be faring right now against the other teams that we've been more familiar with, in other competitions.
I like the fact that you mentioned they have been together the longest in terms of being an institution in Philippine volleyball. And speaking of institutions and veterans, Royce Tubino will be in action for today alongside, of course, Medellin Palse. Pag-usapan ba naman natin ang mga
I think no other introductions needed. We don't need to describe anything. We don't need to say much, about this lady because she really has proven herself a lot already here in Philippine volleyball.
And the thing is, this Army squad has been training for the past 9 days. So that might be a short window. Dahil, of course, before that, they were with their separate club teams. It's going to be interesting how they can perform in the Champions League. And today, against the Petrogas Angels. Now let's talk about those Angels. Again, as we mentioned, a couple of new players. And of course, among those players, those new names that we have to highlight, is the one at number 10. It's Brooke Van Sickle from Oregon in the States. You have any thoughts about her arrival in the Philippines?
Well, definitely, of course, it can spice things up here for the Petrogas Angels and here in this tournament. But, you know, she has also had a lot of experience before coming in here in the joining the Angels. She has played and also other club teams, you know, before she comes here to the Philippines. So I'm really very excited how she would be gelling well with the rest of the Angels.
You know, Ivy, I actually had a very interesting conversation with Chi Said earlier today, and she compared Brooke Van Sickle to one Janissa Johnson. So that's going to be one heck of a comparison. It's going to be interesting how she can team up with this woman, Myla Pablo, who's back with Petrogas.
That's right. So I'm sure that she feels very at home back with the Angels. But again, it's really how they're able to gel against each other because all of the new additions. So it's going to be interesting. And of course, this lady over here who has been doing a very good job orchestrating all the plays, making all her attackers look good, and she's really proven herself, to be a very reliable setter here for the Angels.
Well, in terms of setting for DJ Cheng, she also has a couple more weapons with Ethan Arce in the mix. Joy Dacoron is also now a Petrogas Angel, so let's see how they can perform against Army for today. There you have it, folks. The first game of your PNBF Champions League in the 3rd edition. It features Army versus Petrogas. That's coming right up.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from inside the Rizal Memorial Coliseum, day number 1 of the PNBF Champions League 2024. Match number 1 of the women's division features the Philippine Army and their opponents, the Petrogas Angels. And now introducing our officials for this match. The first referee is Herbert Matematico, AVC International Referee. Second referee is Cherry Potacion, AVC International Referee. And now let's meet the starters. First, for the Philippine Army. Setter number 7, Team Captain Corporal Jane Gonzalez. Outside spiker number 9, Private First Class Audrey Paran. Opposite header number 11, Private Alex Polidario. Outside spiker number 14, Corporal Nene Bautista. Middle blocker number 16, Sergeant Lut Malaluan. And middle blocker number 21, Private First Class Jeanette Villarreal. Their starting libero is number 10, Staff Sergeant Angela Nunag. And the head coach for the Army is Sergeant Randy Falurina. And now the starters for the Petrogas Angels. Middle blocker number 9, team captain Remy Palma. Setter number 2, Janelle Cheng. Opposite hitter number 8, Aiza Pontillas. Outside spiker number 10, Brooke Van Sickle. Middle blocker number 12, Casey Galtones. And outside spiker number 19, Nicole Tiamson. Starting libero is number 22, B. Love Barbon. And the head coach for the Angels is Kochi Tusu Rapara.
Army, we have Polidario, Paran, Malaluan, Villarreal, Bautista, Gonzalez, and Nunag wearing white with complementary green and black for today. And as for Petrogas wearing red, we have Pontillas, Caldones, Sickle, Tiamson, Palma, Cheng, and Barbon. Again, we thank you for joining us in the first game of your PNVF Champions League in 2024. It's been a while, but obviously we have missed volleyball already. A lot of people have said, Ivy, that January felt so long.
Yeah.
Yet here we are, back inside the Rizal Memorial Coliseum.
That's right. So again, and this is actually a good way, you know, to start off the first quarter because we pretty much reached January. But yeah, I mean, it's still early on this year, and this is one of the good ways, you know, to start it off. And we have 5 of the more decorated teams that's competing here in this tournament.
And again, it's Petrogas with Army. Then later on, Cheritigo will take on Signal HT. And then we have the lone collegiate team in College of St. Benilde, who are the recent champions in the Challenge Cup held late in 2023. As now, it's an easy gift for KC Galdones to begin things.
First point of the match to Petrogas.
PJ Cheng will be serving for Petrogas. You mentioned she has been playing oh so well, especially in the last campaign of Petrogas in the PVL. Your thoughts about her progress?
Well, definitely, you know, she has made a huge difference, really, for Petrogas. And, you know, I think, you know, while we say that she still continues to improve, you know, and I think that's one of the good things about her addition here to the team is she's really been able to maximize a lot of her attackers. And I really do think that, you know, she has made a lot of them shine.
And that's why Chisaid can rest comfortably at the sideline. Oh, that's a nice hit from the left pin, courtesy of Petrogas. And again, this is a team that's highly decorated with a lot of talented players. And now, we present to you the arrival of Brooke Van Sickle, who should be one of the more dynamic scorers that we will be able to witness in Philippine volleyball. Let's see how Army can counter. Audrey Paran against 2 blockers. Back set, Pontillas will hand it over to the side of Army. Left in, Audrey Paran goes cross. A good chance on the other end. Tiamson from the back row. Rally continues. Back set, Polidario. Down the line. Nice dig by Barbon. Good chance here, but that was a missed dig by Bautista. That's Nene Bautista. Chance on the other end. Middle hit, and that works for KC Galdones.
Good sharp hit from Galdones. Let's take a look at that once again. She's really aiming for the sides, you know, not hitting straight.
Ooh, whistle blown. There's a rotation error.
Rotation
on
error.
the side of Army.
Army.
We did mention, Ivy, that this is a team that has a combination of youngsters with veterans, and they've been training for 9 days before this tournament. So obviously, if you compare it to teams like Petrogas, medyo onti lang
Oh,
yun.
that's right. You know, we mentioned that they've been together a long time, but you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've been training,
Yes.
you know, that long as well. Kasi syempre, you know, they have their duties, and it's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you know, it's not a continuous training here for Army. So normally they get together if there's an upcoming tournament, and you know, like you mentioned, you know, for this particular, for PNBF, they
All
didn't really
5
have a
points of
lot
the match
of
belongs to
time, no
Petrogas.
luxury of time to train together.
But as we always say, it's never too late to start again if you're Army. Good chance here now for the white shirts. And Malaluan finally puts them on board.
So key now for Army, I think, is they should really start first with a good first ball. You know, just try to keep that first in place,
Serving for the
because
Army,
they also have a lot of
Malaluan.
options when it comes to attacks.
Served by Malaluan, DJ Cheng back sets, pushed by Brooke, and that works. A smart hit
Drop ball
from the right pin. Now, a lot of people might have been surprised with that comparison to Janissa Johnson, who obviously achieved so much already with Petrogas, but the sky's the limit for this moment. That hit was long for Jeanette Villarreal.
So Army would need to
7
control the
serving
errors. Again, you know, they're still trying to find their momentum. They're still trying to, you know, get themselves into the right play.
Sharp serve by Brooke. And here's Polidario.
That was too near the net.
That means
point goes to Petrogas.
it's now 8 points on board for Petrogas against the 1 of Army.
And substitution on the side of Army, Ginny De Los Reyes comes in.
First technical timeout score.
But there's
Yeah,
a
we have,
timeout.
Petrogas.
The technical
1.
timeout, the first
For the
technical
Filipino
timeout
Army.
of this game. We shall be back. We're back inside the Rizal Memorial Coliseum, and why don't we take this time to give some shout-outs to the fans inside the venue. To be honest with you, Ivy, I'm really happy to see this fan turnout. They seem to be really excited to be watching our volleyball players once more.
Likewise, you know, this is a good way to spend your Sunday afternoon, and we thank everybody who's watching with us live, and also here, of course, at Rizal Memorial Coliseum. So they're really coming in here, you know, to watch their favorite volleyball players. And ito nga sinasabi natin, you know, very good way to start 2024.
And that was a good way for Nene Bautista to score for Army, their second point in this matchup. Talk about some of the OGs that we have in Philippine volleyball. That's another set to the middle. Unfortunately, that's set outside for Casey Galdones.
And again, if Galdones is hitting from the front, the defense of Army, especially that in the sides or the corners, should be very careful because she's been aiming at those spots.
Bit tight there for Aiza Maiza Puntillas. And a chance for Army. Audrey Paran could not score. Counter, Tiamzon. Yes, ma'am.
Nicole Tiamzon of the Antonunan.
Tiamzon in between two blockers. It's really nice to see Nicole Tiamzon really, you know, here back. She's starting now for the Angels. Past conferences, we've seen her come from the bench.
And she's doing this while also coaching for
That's
UP.
right.
Very impressive for Nicole. Oh, that ball went through onto the side of Army. De Los Reyes, ball deflected, scramble. And Chami could not get it to the other side.
The point goes to Philippine Army.
9-4 now in set number 1. De Los Reyes will be doing the honors. Fresh off the bench. Ball up for Petrogas. To the middle they went. Bautista keeping it alive. Gonzalez to the open. That tip was saved. A pancake saved by DJ Cheng. Running hit now for Villarreal. And now that goes out.
Excellent play for Army. And this is what we're talking about. You know, they just need a good first ball so that they can maximize all the options they have for their attackers. At the start of the game, that was the challenge. So they couldn't give a good first ball. So ang hirap. You know,
Yes.
it's really hard for them to set up plays.
Well, now it has been a 4-1 run in favor of Philippine Army. And that's off of our first technical timeout. De Los Reyes sending that ball in straight to Brook. And Remy Palma found an opening, could not exploit it completely. Back set for DJ. Aiza Maizo Contillas.
A lot of fast plays happening on the side of the Angels. Let's take a look at that once again.
Gotta love that. Every time she's at the right pin, Aiza Maizo Contillas, more often than not, she delivers with a point. Nunag onto Paran. Bit low there. It's a point for Petrogas.
No coverage on the side of Army, who's down by 6 points.
Now we have a timeout. Let's just sit in.
Malayo pa yung turno yan. Kailangan natin ng resimbang. Pasa tayo, kailangan tasatak tayo. Okay? Ngayon, position ng bola, kailangan natin mublock na maayos. Wala tayo muna mablock. Kapag mablock na, pasout lang. Ha? Let's go. Kaya pa yan.
Tagayin natin, isa-isa. Tagayin na natin.
Isa-isa ninyo lang, isa-isa ninyo.
There's the first emergency button for Philippine Army in this game. Sergeant Coach Randy Falorina obviously leading the way for the white shirts. On the other end, we actually have to mention that Petrogas has a new coach.
That's right.
And that new coach's name is Coach Koji Suzurabara. And he is actually the Chinese Taipei women's national team coach. Have witnessed his leadership in the AVC Cup and the FIVB Challenger Cup. So it's nice to have him here now, coaching Petrogas. That's a point for Audrey Paran.
This is a new system, of course, for the Angels. So quite interesting, you know, how well they're able to adapt, you know, to the new coaching.
Now, Chisai did tell me that the new coach, itong si Coach Koji, is really detail-oriented and he's very specific when it comes to their defense and serving. But he does give out a lot of trust in terms of the attacking prowess already of his players. Speaking of attacking prowess, how about the attacking prowess of Remy Palma?
Another good play executed here on the side of the Angels.
12-6 now. Nicole Tiamson will be serving for the red shirts. Ball scraped the net. Gonzalez to the quick. Malaluan could not score. Counter for Petrogas. And that beats the line for Nicole Tiamson.
Let's see, Angels really not giving Army the opportunity to organize themselves when it comes to defense. A lot of fast plays. Even the pipe attack was quite low.
Nice serve by Nicole. And a good chance now for Petrogas. DJ to the quick. That works for Remy Palma once more. There's the replay. Not much power needed for Remy in order to get that point.
Well, the Angels have scored a couple of points from drop shots. So just a proper placement.
Another chance for them now. Brook, bit tight there. De Los Reyes keeping it alive. Battle at the net. That's sent to the side of Army. Audrey Paran, a drop for her. That doesn't work. Brook will send it back to Army, and that's a point for Brook Van Sickle.
Broken play, but still a point here for the Angels.
Ivy, actually have quite a test for you today. If you can evaluate for us what do you think the conditioning level is for Brooke Van Sickle as of this moment? Because we actually got the information that she took a break, a long break. It's 10 months of no volleyball for Brooke Van Sickle before arriving to the Philippines.
Well, it doesn't seem like it, you know. But I'm sure, you know, probably that despite not having 10 months of volleyball, it seemed like she did her own effort to keep herself in shape. You know, maybe no games or no drills, but she's performing very well right now.
Now Petrogas is performing well as well. It's 16-6. Let's break down the past champions of the PNBF Champions League. In the men's division, we have the Dasma Monarchs, followed by Signal HD. And then for the women's, it was F2 Logistics in the inaugural season that happened in the Batangas Lipa bubble. And then, of course, in the previous conference or in the previous season, obviously it was a different winner for the women's division with California Precision Sports at Antipolo City. As Petrogas scores again. Just so everybody knows, that team from Antipolo City was led by a couple of latest recruits now for the UE Red Warriors. Casey Dongalio po yun.
Right.
17-6.
Very, very comfortable lead here for Petrogas.
Are we back with the receiving problems of Army?
Yes, another poor reception actually on the side of Army, but a lucky break because net violation error on the side of Petrogas. That was Remy Palma. She quickly apologizes to Coach Koji.
It's nice to see the smile though of Remy Palma, fresh off of the Christmas and New Year break. Audrey Paran will now be serving.
Oh, good serve.
DJ opens up. Ball deflected. A chance now for Army. That's Nene Bautista. Counter for Petrogas. Remy Palma. Great dig by Angela Nunag. Down the line. That works for Nene Bautista.
That was a good play on the side of Army. Let's take a look at that. Nene Bautista. A little bit off timing, but she was able to find a way to put that ball through.
You know, Ivy, I actually really waited for that opportunity for her to score because I want you to take us through the Nene Bautista of before. Because I really heard a lot of great stuff to her. Why don't you tell us your own stories about Nene Bautista?
You know, the one thing that really strikes me with with Nene Bautista was the fact that I think she really plays very smart. So, you know, she can hit the hard ball, she can hit the fast ball, but what I really love about the way that she plays is that she really, you know, looks at the opponent, and she's the type of player that, you know, finds those open holes, open areas in the defense. And I think the fact that she also plays beach volleyball kind of helps.
Yes.
You know, that's sometimes what I really say is how can she find those open spaces, and she has one of the fastest flicks of the wrist that I've seen probably in a Philippine volleyball.
That's why it's going to be a lot more interesting to watch her continue to perform here in the Champions League. She seems to be getting a lot of minutes on the floor. But before we proceed, we have a timeout courtesy of Coach Koji.
You have a next set. Don't miss it. Don't. Now. Error. Touch it. After borrow. Easy ball. Okay, don't stop. Keep the rhythm. Keep the rhythm. Okay.
Do you actually have a first impression as to the coaching of Coach Koji?
Well, you know, this is really more of what I've heard, because right now, pretty much, he seems like he's quite relaxed, you know. But I've heard that in training, he can really be very strict. He's very particular about, you know, I think you're right. He's very into much of the details. I think he's also very particular about time. I think I read somewhere that he doesn't like waiting.
Oh, really? So, is that waiting in terms of starting the practice? Hindi ka pwedeng malate, ganon?
That's probably, well, that's part of discipline. You know, I think he really wants all the players to be on time. And I think it doesn't only, well, for me, maybe it's not only for him as a coach, but I'm sure all of the other coaches would not want that. But maybe he's just really, he shows how particular he is about it.
Nene Bautista tried to go down the line. You talked about her being an intelligent spiker.
You know, an Army still has a couple of key players that we're not seeing on the court right now. I mean, Royce Tobino is one of the key players for the team, but she's taking a rest here in the first set.
Well, she seems to be warming up a little bit here and there, so we can't count her out in this game, as we just saw another point courtesy of Petrogas. It seems like Sickle is really beating herself down. But in terms of those usual names for Army, we won't be seeing Jovelyn Gonzaga for this game. She is currently recovering from an old injury, but she did guarantee us that she will be playing tomorrow. It is going to be a long week after all for these teams.
And this is only the first game, you know. But, you know, that's just the thing about the format that we have here for the women's division, because since they only have five teams rather, each win definitely counts. So it's very, very important that all of these teams, you know, get as much wins as they can, because there's only 4 that will be advancing on to the next round.
And some people might even think that it's quite back to 0 in the next round, no? Dahil walang twice to beat. Bautista with the receive. Gonzalez to the open. That doesn't work. Tiamzon was there. Perez to the left pin. Advanced Sickle scores again.
Very fast hit. Let's take a look at that once again. In between the 2 blockers.
Now we have a timeout for Philippine Army.
Wala naman dandalin. Sa pinapalo ng load, puro cross. Labangan mo dito. Iba mo yung kaliwa. Ha? Ikaw, kailangan dumiretso ka lang ng block. Ha? Madali naman kunin na lang, palo lang eh. Okay? Ha? Okay, pasa muna tayo. Para atake tayo, ha? Okay pa yan, kaya pa yan.
That might just be the last time for the Philippine Army to regroup in their favor, as they're down by 10 points now in the first set. Let's see if they can give us quite a scare against Petrogas. Ivy Perez will be serving now as the second setter. Myla Pablo is on the floor, by the way, for those of you who haven't seen her so far. Here's Ivy. Oh, what a serve.
Service ace.
Service ace.
Isn't she going up against her former team?
Yes. And you know, if you notice, a lot of the services are actually being aimed at Nene Bautista.
Serving 11.
Let's see if Nene's teammates can help her out as Ivy serves. Same target. Over receive, scramble. Ball sent to the other side. It's Nicole Tiamzon from the back row. Malaluan on the counter. Brooke was there. She's going to get it back. Brooke Van Sickle.
Off the block.
Brooke Van Sickle.
Well, one thing's for sure, we're going to have to get used to saying her name on live television.
23. Serving 11.
Ivy Perez serves. Paran with the first ball. That's tight. Ball sent back by Myla Pablo. From the middle, Casey Galdones could not score. Bautista to counter. Cross court, straight to Myla. Ivy chases. Myla Pablo. And she will score.
Myla Pablo.
A lot of the points of Petrogas also coming from block touches. Just like this attack of Myla Pablo.
It's now 13 set points for the Petrogas Angels. Ivy Perez. Paran with the receive. Not the best of receives though. And it's Myla Pablo who will give us the finishing touch in set number 1. She's back home, Ivy.
That's right. Convincing win here for the Angels in set number 1.
We did have a bit of a scare from the side of Army after the first technical timeout, but Petrogas was quick to recover. And so in dominating fashion, this is the opener for our Champions League. We'll be back for set number 2.